Well, that escalated very quickly. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel here from the Geek Speak Nation channel. And also, before we get into this video, if you could leave a like on this video, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps me out in YouTube's algorithm. And if you're new here and you end up enjoying this video, consider subscribing to become a part of the Geek Speak Nation channel and set that bell icon to all so you always get notified of when I post a new video. Yeah, I am terrible at shilling for myself. Regardless, we are here to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What I originally wanted to do was wait until the series was over to do like this scripted retrospective over WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier as a collective and what it's done for the MCU so far, and going into the new territory of officially, you know, television related to exactly what's happening in the mainline films, you know, not just Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that. But episode 4 was just too good. It was just too good. It just got to the point where I was like, dude, I can't sit here and just not talk about this. It's just too good. Like we gotta chat. We gotta see what's going on. So I'm just gonna have my unfiltered thoughts going through and just discussing what I've loved about the show so far and what I love with what I'm seeing with episode 4. And I hope that what we are seeing in this series is not a fad and is not some, you know, trend that is going to disappear. But I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. The thing I wanted to say ahead of all this is that I love what they are doing with these MCU TV shows. What we're getting right now is something that we get glimpses of in the movies, right? So we can get glimpses of Tony Stark's PTSD in Iron Man 3. We can get glimpses of, you know, Thor's depression in Endgame, right? We can get glimpses of these things, but we never get too much time to dwell on them and dive into them. And so what I love about these MCU shows is that we get to take a deeper dive into these elements that make these characters so engaging. It's their interpersonal relationships and their inner struggles that make them so triumphant when they overcome them and are able to save the day, right? And what we got for Wanda, it was absolutely incredible. You know, this story about someone who's just grieving and going through the grieving process, except she has superpowers, so it ends up endangering other people. But it's just about a woman who's grieving the loss of her husband or the man she loves, you know? And so that's what makes that so powerful, is that that's what the whole entire core of the show is about. And, you know, it does it in this beautiful way of something that pays tribute to the history of television and, you know, and entertainment in and of itself. But it is this beautiful, heartfelt story at the core of it. And it explores who Wanda is and how flawed she is and what she's going through, and also how powerful she is by the end of it. And then also the big thing about this is that we get to explore more of the MCU, seeing how different elements of the world are dealing with the events of the existence of superheroes and also the happening of the blip and how that affects the whole entire world and half of humanity being snapped from existence. You probably didn't hear that snap because my microphone filters out stuff, but whatever, no big deal. But, you know, people literally getting snapped out of existence is kind of a big deal. And seeing how people react to it and how it affects people's lives is extremely, extremely important. And I love what they did in WandaVision with all of this. However, Falcon and the Winter Soldier takes those elements to like the next level when it comes to integrating the world with the internal struggle of our main character. This show is not about heroes and villains. It's about the gray area in between. And it takes that theme of exploring the gray area, exploring the line, right, between heroes and villains, in every single aspect. From whether it's the world of banking to the world of superheroes, or it's the world of the military, whether it's the world of racial politics, and whether it's just America itself. And who is the quintessential Captain America? Who is the quintessential hero of America? What does America represent in 2021 or 2025, is it? In the world of the MCU? I can't, or 2026? I'm not too sure. Whatever year they're in the MCU, that's what it's all about in this show. And it is super, super engaging. And of course, the best part is, yes, we still do. Sorry, my TV is... Sorry, I just want to show you guys, as I was recording this, my TV turned completely green, and I don't know why, and that's something I have to fix after I finish recording this. I will put a picture of it on the screen so you can see why I completely got derailed while I was recording this. Okay, anyways. Okay, so like I was saying, the best part about all of this is the fact that we still get, of course, the awesome, bombastic, you know, cool action sequence, beat 'em up MCU stuff that we know and love, and, you know, the whole entire MCU in general, and like, oh, Wakanda, that's awesome. But at the end of the day, the things that are intriguing me the most is how far this story is going to explore if there really are any bad guys in this show. I think it's very heavily emphasized right now by episode 4, what we're seeing with Carly, and this idea of these extremists who are going in and trying to make a difference, and these people who have been, you know, ostracized, and these people who have been kicked out of their homes and have been just, you know, abused by the system is kind of the best way of putting it, and are not being treated equally because of all the things that have happened ever since all the people from the blip came back, and how this organization that is supposed to be responsible for relocating everybody is not doing their job properly. They're, you know, storing food and keeping it from people, and they have months of it stored up. And one of the most fascinating things to see online is the discourse that this show is bringing up amongst people, of people who agree with Carly, but not just in the sense of, obviously, you know, of course we want to help those in need, and people who are homeless, and people who have been downtrodden, who need help, we want to help them, but in the sense of the actions that she's doing are right, the lives that she are taking, who, although all of us deem them as innocent, and she doesn't, a lot of people ended up agreeing with that, and actually agreeing with her methods. And it's like this idea of this fighting fire with fire sort of thing, and it's like, and where do you stand with Captain America, and where do you stand with Steve Rogers? Is Zemo right? There's so many interesting ideas that are brought up here that end up like merging together very, very well. And it's this show in this season about identity overall, right? Who is Captain America? Who is America, or what is America in and of itself? Who is Falcon, right? And that's one of the most interesting things that I've just seen being brought up with this show, and I think that's what just makes it so impactful, is that Falcon is such a good character to answer these questions with, because he's someone who's divided amongst all these different worlds. You have this amazing moment in episode 4 where Sam's sister says, you know, yeah, I don't care about America, or we're gonna care about what the America wants, or something like that, or what the world wants, when they don't care about my world. I'm misquoting that. I haven't got the full quote right.
Is there a reason you're calling me?
I'm trying to figure out if I need to kill your brother. I thought I could trust him. I got the impression that he and I had some things in common. But then it turns out he's working for your new Captain America.
I didn't choose him.
Who would you have chosen instead?
My world doesn't matter to America, so why should I care about its mascot?
But the quote was so powerful to me, because what they're doing a lot of in this show is taking real world politics and real world social issues and blending it in unapologetically into the MCU in a very up in your face and upfront way. Whether it's the scene of Sam trying to get a loan from the bank, whether it's the scene of the police officers who approach Sam with their hands already on the gun, but then they gently, you know, put the Winter Soldier in the back of the police vehicle, you know, making sure he doesn't hit his head along the way down. There's a lot of things that are being addressed and brought up in this show, and I think in very subtle, not so subtle, and yet powerful ways at the same time, while still remaining, you know, maintaining the core of what we love about these characters. Whether it's their banter, their relationships, and also their sense of responsibility and their desire to want to go in and help other people. And I love the character of John Walker. He is so interesting, because he's someone you just initially just don't want to like, because he's like, that's not Captain America. He doesn't deserve to have that shield. And he feels that same conflict as well. Like, he doesn't deserve to have that shield. And who does? And what does it take to have that shield? Is it the soldier, the super soldier serum that makes someone Captain America? Is it really their character? You know, is it their, you know, the Medal of Honors they earned? I mean, to him, his Medal of Honors are just a commemoration of the worst days of his life, as he says. That's very, very interesting. And that's so captivating to try to dissect. This whole entire show is about this deconstruction of our heroes, right? This deconstruction of our idols, if you will. I think we've all have been collectively experiencing a death of our heroes in a not just literal sense, but also a figurative sense. Whether it's, you know, the Me Too movement, or, you know, you just find out some things about Dark Seuss and how he felt about certain things. It doesn't matter. The point is that everyone goes through this. Every single generation goes through this idea of, we have our heroes, we have our ideologies that are built up, and we watch them crumble in front of our eyes. And we have to face the fact that these institutions, these people, these celebrities, what have you, influencers, these people, these things aren't perfect, they're flawed, but do they still have a place in our lives and in our society? I think that's the most fun thing about the show so far, is I'm not ready to answer questions that the show presents just yet, because I haven't seen fully what the show itself has to say by the end of it. We could get to episode 6 and then, you know, maybe all this kind of racial politics stuff is just supposed to be like a little flavor for you to keep things spicy and to keep things, you know, current with what's going on. And then by the end of the series, and by, you know, 8 Marvel movies later, this type of stuff will never be brought up ever again. It's just because of the social climate we live in. But genuinely, I enjoy all of the questions that are being brought up right now. And I feel like it all boils down to one question that the show is like trying to ask the audience. And that's, would you take this serum? How badly do you want to make a difference, right? What would you use this power for? You know, what does this power lead to? Would you take it because you think you can make a difference with it? Would you not take it because maybe, like Zemo, you think it leads to some form of supremacy or some form of evil along the way? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's very, very fascinating questions. It's very, very interesting questions. And that's what I just love about the show. I mean, we could talk about the, you know, the actual plot details of, like, you know, they're going around chasing people, and, you know, Sharon's obviously the power broker. Like, could it be more obvious that she's the power broker? But yeah, I think the philosophical questions and the emotional questions and the questions that the show raises and the politics that it's trying to address, I think are very, very interesting. And I think it's bold for the MCU to do this. I think it's bold for Disney to greenlight this to a certain degree. As much as you can commend a corporation for being open or woke or aware of the current zeitgeist, but I think there is an acknowledgement that needs to be had, because, I mean, just the imagery alone of Captain America with blood on his shield, something that Disney normally would never allow. But the image is so powerful because it's the contrast between John Walker and Steve Rogers, that when they were both in that gray area and they were confronted with the other side of their argument, the other side of what they were chasing after, the other side of what is confronting them, Cap threw the shield away. He put the shield down and he walked away. John Walker, on the other hand, he stood tall with his shield covered in blood in front of all those people. Now, what ends up happening next because of that thematically, who knows? We're still on episode 4. We've got 2 episodes left. But I still think that what they're doing with the show is absolutely great. Obviously, the humor is wonderful. The chemistry between Zemo and Sam and Bucky is all great. Still wish we got still wish we were getting a little bit more Bucky as well in the series. I think this episode was really great for him, and I think Sebastian Stan gave an amazing performance at the beginning of this episode. The single tear. He did the single tear. That's how you know he is of a caliber of actor. But I still think you know, the basic elements of this show are absolutely wonderful. You know, the action, the writing, the banter, the casting, the all that stuff is great. But I think the questions that it's trying to raise and the conversations that the show is trying to provoke are infinitely more interesting. And I am enjoying talking about this show every single week with my friends. And I genuinely want to hear from you guys, you know, what you think of all this. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, as much as people, you know, want to rant about, like, keep your politics out of my comic book movies and your social commentaries out of my media I consume, comic books are very political. Especially Marvel comic books are extremely political. Extremely political. Civil War originally, very political. The context underneath a lot of these things are very political, and you just don't draw from these source materials the way that they've done in this show, especially bringing up Isaiah, the Black Captain America. You don't bring up that type of stuff and those allegories for the Tuskegee experiments that were done on black people on accident. You don't bring up these things on accident. It's because you want to start a conversation. And that's what comic books have always done. It's always been some form of a political statement in these coloring books, you know, these children's books. I mean, hey, they can be as simple as, you know, Captain America punching Hitler in the face. But they can go deeper than that. And they can raise some very interesting questions and start some interesting conversations. But so far, that is genuinely what I think of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So far, I am really, really enjoying it. I'm loving the action. I'm loving the philosophical questions. The debate is starting up. The whose side are you on? The would you take this serum? Genuinely, guys, would you take the serum? I would like to know in the comment section down below what you think about that. But with that being said, guys, yeah, depending on how things go for the next episode, I will do a review for the next episode. If this video gets 15 likes, I'll do another one. I don't know how you're supposed to extort people for likes for content. I don't know how this stuff works. Just like the video, comment, tell me you want to see more of this, and then we can discuss more of this. And I'll go more in detail on the episodes and do more of an in-depth breakdown, and we can talk more about these episodes next week. Yeah, let me know if that's something you're interested in. Like I said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really, really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, like it. Yeah, if you didn't, like the video anyways. And if you're new here, subscribe to become a part of the Geek Speak Nation channel, and make sure you set the bell icon to all so you always get notified of when I post a new video. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I'm Daniel, and don't forget to get geeky.